from a secret remove boss to a fruit that was so powerful it was in the game for only a few minutes. Here are 25 things that were removed from Blox fruits in Roblox. Blox fruits had to change the look of the original bosses because they almost got the game deleted. If you're wondering why bosses don't look like the ones in the One Piece anime, well, they used to look almost the same. Due to copyright, developers were obligated to change their looks. Gameplay would have been much better if we still had the real One Piece characters, but better be safe than sorry. Back in 2019, new players couldn't even get the boat because experienced players used to kill them as soon as they spawned. Fortunately, Blox Fruits developers realized that this was a huge problem since they couldn't attract any new players to the game. Nowadays, you must reach level 20 to fight with other players, so not only they fixed the problem of spawn killing, but also gave new players a chance to do some quests and see if they like the game. We all know that the One Piece fruits are sphere shaped, so then why are the fruits in the game shaped like a square? The reason for this is actually the same as the bosses. If you played Blox Fruits back when it was released, you know that the fruits used to be sphere shaped. One Piece once again thought they were too similar and almost got the game deleted for a second time. Developers had to change the shape of the fruits in order to keep the game alive. It was definitely worth it. If you've ever gotten falsely banned, you know how annoying it is. The old banning system worked too well. It banned players that used any type of cheat or did anything that's punishable with a ban, but it also used to falsely ban players that did nothing wrong. Blox Fruits realized this when thousands of players started flooding the game's Discord server with complaints. Because of this, developers built a new system that permabans only players who committed serious violations. And players that committed less serious violations now get significantly less severe punishments. Your besto friendo took his name too seriously. He was even able to level up your sword or your gun. Only 3 friends are randomly selected for this role per server, and since the 25th of February, besto friendos no longer deals damage to the allies. This gives players an advantage because they don't have to think about hurting their allies. One of the first things that was changed in 2023 was the speed of walking using control. From now on, it's actually the same for everyone. Blox Fruits developers say that this is only due to aesthetic purposes, and running speed still remains unchanged to this day. Did you know you can use abilities while eating fruit? Well, you could've. The fruit animation looked pretty cool when combined with an ability, but we assume Blox Fruits developers removed this because it was considered a bug. Who knows? Before releasing the 1v1 PvP system, there were no rules when it came to fighting. The 1v1 PvP system allows you to kill or die to the same player up to 3 times every 3 days. For example, if you kill the same player twice and he kills you once, you won't earn any bounty from each other until 3 days have passed because the score would be 3 out of 3. Luckily, you can switch your enemies every day since there are over 600,000 active users every single day. If you have one special OP you hate, then you'll hate this update more than you hate him. When you perform your last resort, you get a damage boost for 6.5 seconds and the buff increases the closer you are to death, so it truly is a last resort. Back in 2020, performing last resort used to take your own health. Because of this, players used to avoid it, so Blox Fruits had to do something in order to make it more appealing to the players, so they removed it dealing damage. Have you ever used it? In the last week of 2019, Blox Fruits decided it was time to add some new tracks to the game. I assume that's how the very known sea theme was born. This is always my answer whenever someone asks me what I'm listening to. Before the 8th update, the game was set to take away players' bounty in PvP even if it was his first time starting the game. This made things super difficult for new players. Since then, players only lose bounty in PvP if they've got more than 2.5 million. And the maximum amount of bounty a player can have is 30 million. Making bounty impossible to lose in PvP for players that have less than 2.5 million is a great feature, but is it really worth it if we still lose huge amounts from every lost fight? Blox Fruits took care of that too. Bounty loss from PvP is now based on the enemy's level and bounty, which means you won't lose so much anymore. Spirit Fruit is known for being an effective fruit for PvP and is the 3rd most expensive fruit in the entire game. Spirits are collected over time and used when you summon a buddy. In the update before v4, instead of obtaining them from NPCs or players, you simply get them instantly. Pretty cool. For many of us, Kilo was the first fruit we acquired. Back in the days, greater heights used to increase Kilo's ability damage, but not anymore. No matter how high you drop, it will always deal the same damage. Still, this is one of the only fruits that can counter enemies in the air, and it only costs $5,000. Flame Z move used to be the same as in One Piece. It went through 3 reworks due to unknown reasons, and now it's just a blue fire called Blue Fire Bullets. That's not even similar to One Piece. why on earth do you think they changed it so much? Portal's physical fruit model is a reference to Aperture Science weighted storage cube from the game Portal. But did you know Portal used to be called Door Fruit? It was released in Update 15 and soon completely redesigned with a new name, appearance, and skill set. Why, you ask? Once again, Blox Fruits had to change the fruit because of copyright and save the game for who knows which time. Flash Step was an ability early players discovered that can be used for the no-clip glitch. You just had to stand by the wall, move your camera, and press R to flash. That's it, it was that easy and always worked. No-clip was the first glitch discovered and there are a lot more of them out there. Let me know if you want me to make a video about all the glitches found in Blox Fruits. Darkbeard used to drop something called a rare artifact. It was used for stat refund and to change your race from Tord. Demand for these was huge since they had many uses, especially for, at the time, the rare Dragon Breath fighting style. Artifacts have since been removed, however, since Update 11, and were replaced with fragments. Fragments are kinda easy to obtain. Defeating Darkbeard or Rip Indra will give you 1500 fragments. When the game first got out, it was called Blox Piece, and a few months later it became Blox Fruits. As for the previous things that were removed due to copyright, the situation was the exact same. One Piece thought Blox Piece sounded way too similar, even though there's a Roblox game called a One Piece. That definitely doesn't sound similar, not even close. Players started bullying the new name, but all of a sudden the popularity for the game skyrocketed just because of it. And this tiny change definitely brought Blox Fruits thousands of new players. Years ago, there was this thing called a treasure inventory. It was used to store fruits and game passes. You could only store one of each fruit, and you could upgrade your treasure inventory with a game pass, which allowed you to store 2 of each fruit. It was a physical chest, unlike today's inventory, which means every time you wanted to use it, you would have to walk over to it and open it. Paramecia, Logia, and Zone are the names whose meaning most of you don't know. Let me translate them. Natural, Elemental, and Beast. Those names I first mentioned are how categories used to be called back in the day. Just like sphere-shaped fruits and old skins of NPCs, the old names of fruit categories were removed because of copyright. This is because they were the same ones as in One Piece. Way back in time, whenever fruit spawned, you had to search for it and it was an exhausting process. That's because there were only 4 game passes, and Fruit Notifier wasn't one of them. However, that changed nothing for players who don't spend their money on Robux. Now that's cool. At the moment, there's 4 sea events in Blox Fruit: Ship Raids, CPSs, Rumbling Waters, and Mirage Island. But in the older version of Blox Fruits, there was not a single sea event. Grinding fragments was so hard and many people left the game because of this and came back when sea events were introduced. If you knew that one, let me know down in the comments below. But way back in the prehistoric ages, millions of years ago, the maximum number of players that could play on a single server was only 10. I'm gonna guess there wasn't any PvPs. Imagine how cool it would be though if there was 10 players teamed up and getting richer together. Or you could do all your quests in peace without thinking about if someone's going to attack you or have the same quest as you. I wish people would stop attacking me. OG players still remember how Marine Starter Island used to look. It really felt like home to some players and they had a special bond with it. But Blox Fruits decided it was time to let go and gave Starter Island a whole new look. We assume they did this just to make the game more appealing for the new players. Just kidding, this one's actually a myth. Tricked ya. And that's all 25 facts. Thank you for watching, make sure to subscribe and click on the screen to watch this video. Or don't, I guess I can't tell you what to do. Please.